Godou Kusanagi sat on the hill, watching as the other students in his class were competing in a game for gym. Of course, Godou used to enjoy doing things like that, and a part of him still had the itch to try. But still, a lot of things had changed for him in just a short period of time. Prior to becoming a Campione, Godou had suffered a severe injury to his shoulder. At one point, he was a star player on the baseball team, but afterwards, it was thought that his career was all but cut short. However, since becoming a Campione, having the powers of Shazam bestowed upon him, his regular human body was restored to peak physical condition. If anything, he was better than before, and if he wanted to, he could probably make a serious push at going into the pros. But still, for Godou, he had a sense of integrity. If he couldn't do certain things before now, he wasn't going to try just because he had been given a new lease on life, so to speak. He wasn't going to use his power for his own self-gain or self-interest, even though no one would judge him for it. Erica even pointed out that there were many Campioni in the world who did such things, but for Godou, that wasn't really what he desired. It was one of those traits that anyone would find admirable about him. But it wasn't just Erica who thought this way. It was also Miuri. She watched Godou from a distance. Of course, she had promised to keep an eye on him, and she was doing just that. He could be malevolent at times, often acting as though he didn't have a care in the world. He was the type of person who went through life, well, blissfully ignorant. And of course, being a Campione, that could often lead to disaster. But at the same time, there was also something admirable about that quality. Just because of the power that he gained, he didn't try to act brand new, or to act as if he were any different than he was before. If anything, he tried even harder to downplay just how amazing he truly was. And this wasn't just a matter of him having looks or anything like that. No, Godou, even if he would never truly understand, he was in a new world now. A world where things played a lot differently than for common folk. He had now, unbeknownst to himself, been thrusted into a new environment. A place where the rules that apply to regular man no longer apply in such a case. In fact, Godou was arguably one of the most powerful beings on the planet. And yet, for him, that fully hadn't registered. Sure, in the heat of battle against a rogue god or against other Campione, then Godou could get into the spirit, but he would just as quickly fall back to reality, because for Godou, he had no high aspirations, no desires to go beyond his own means. It was something that many could find irritating, but for Erica and for Maria especially, they found it to be an enduring quality of his. Maria, in the meantime, was dealing with her own anxieties. She had suffered from having bouts of visions of an individual. Duke Sasha Voban. He was one of the oldest Campione left in the world, who was believed to have begun his start all the way back in the 1800s. Little was known about Duke Voban, but still, many knew one thing for sure. He was a powerful individual and not one to be taken lightly. So you could imagine Godou's feelings when he learned that Maria had been kidnapped by such a man. For Godou, he had to get accustomed to learning more about what Campiones were. For one thing, he learned that the power that was bestowed upon him was not something that every Campione had. No, you didn't have to have the power of the wizard to be a Campione. But still, it was a surprise that the ancient wizard of all people actually decided to choose another host for his power. Of course, there were many others before Godou who had this power, all lost through the times of history. But no, not every Campione had the power of Shazam. You only became a Campione when you managed to slay a god. How you did it, well, that was by any means. So, for Godou, when he learned of the fate of Maria, he immediately went to her rescue. Of course, that would be easier said than done, as both he and Erica would have to battle through the mighty fortress where Duke Voban kept himself secure. And not only that, but when you become as old as Duke Voban was, it also allows you to have access to very powerful people, and people who can often owe you very powerful favors. And he decided to call on such a favor, having none other than Liliana in his service, as a favor to him from her grandfather. Of course, Liliana did not wish to serve Voban, but she had a duty to uphold. She didn't really have a choice in the matter. Of course, Maria held no ill will against Liliana. After all, they did go back a ways in their past. But still, she was only saddened that she felt as though her existence were little more than a burden to everyone around her. Although, if you were to ask certain individuals, they would feel very differently. Godou and Erica would battle through the many hordes of undead soldiers and golems that Voban sent after them, until eventually they arrived in the throne room, where the Duke himself sat, waiting for the two. Ah yes, the newest Campione. You grace my presence. Voban, Godou said in anger. Where is she? It is customary for one to introduce themselves. You know me by name, so I have no reason to do so. It's Godou. Kusanagi Godou. Ah, so you were the one chosen by the wizard. The seventh king, Kusanagi Godou. Where is Maria? If you're looking for her, she is unharmed. Voban snapped his fingers, and out of thin air, Maria would appear with Liliana standing behind her. Are you okay? I'm fine, Godou. But why? Why did you come here? Indeed, she is my property, and I like to take very good care of my property. And I don't take too kindly to people coming in and demanding of something. Shut the hell up! She's not your property. Who in the hell do you think you are? Young man, I am a Campione, one that has existed for many years, longer than you've seen yourself alive on this very planet. You'd be wise to remember, I don't really care right now. You Campione, all of you, you make me sick. Is that right? I know about what you do. The one who summons the rogue gods, the hunt for your own amusement. Do you even understand what could happen if something like that were to get out of control? I know very well, boy. However, unlike you, I don't hold back. You were the one that summoned Athena. I was. And it seems that Miss Blandelli saw to it that you would be the one to strike her down. Forgive me, Duke Voban, Erica would say with a bow. I was only looking out for the best interest of my Campione and my master. I'm sorry, but I do hope you'll understand. Oh, I understand quite well. Every time I try to find a spoil something of great quality to hunt, it seems to always slip my grasp. First there was you, and then Campione Donnie 4 years ago, who stole my last quarry. I wish to bring Maria into my services. She has great capability and power in summoning a rogue god. I lost many of my servants the last time I tried to attempt such a feat, and as such, I wish to find those of more higher stock when it comes to my endeavors. Yes, boy, I hunt gods for sport, and I don't take too kindly to the disrespect. Campione to Campione. The way you want. I want many things, but since I can't have Athena, I'll settle with the one that slayed her. How about you and I have a contest? A contest? Take young Maria here. Flee as far as you can. 30 minutes I will give you. Then you have till the rising sun to avoid my grasp. If you can do that, then I will leave her alone. If you cannot, she stays in my servitude, and I believe I'll take Blandelli as well. And as for you, your head will be mounted on my wall to serve as a warning to those who try and take what's mine. And it'll serve as a warning to that damned wizard, and that he should be more wise in the people that he chooses to be his avatar. For someone that claims to have the wisdom of Solomon, it seems as though his champions always make poor decisions. Fine, Godou would say. I accept those conditions, and I will raise you even higher. Not only do you stay away from Maria if we win, but you and all your forces, you leave Japan, and you will never return. I see. My banishment from the country. Do you think that it will keep you safe? That it will keep you away from me? Even if it does, there are still others in the world, Godou. But you'll have no need to trouble yourself with such concerns. After tonight, this will be your first and your last stand. After accepting the challenge, Godou and Erica would take Maria. They were being driven by Ariana, along with Hestia, who was in the car for the ride, all of them heading off as quickly as they could, with only the 30-minute head start given to them. Maria would look back to Godou, a strong hint of concern washing over her in that moment. She saw the visible anger that was in his face, the fury in his eyes. Was it really all for her? No, it couldn't be. It was just to be polite. There was no way he truly felt like... Maria, Godou would say, I'm so sorry you got caught up in all this. I'm sorry for whatever he had to put you through. It's okay. No, it's not okay. I don't like the way he just throws his power like that. It disgusts me. Huh? Look, I don't always understand what being a Campione is or what it's supposed to be. But there's one thing I do know. Anyone that would go around treating others like they're property, like they're not even real people, all because they get a little bit of power, that's not someone I ever want to be or be associated with. You're as kind-hearted as ever, Godou. Sometimes it does infuriate me, Erica would say. But still, there's something about your passion, Something about your humbleness, it truly drives me wild. Maria would have to scold Erica for getting all hot and bothered at a time like this, but still, for Godou, he was serious. It seems like every Campione I meet, every single one of them, they always have some selfish desire, some selfish dream. It just gets to a point where it's irritating. I mean, don't they seem to realize what's going on? I mean, I get chastised for it all the time. That every decision I make, it affects others. Yet they don't seem to realize that at all. They would just as soon level a whole country just to satisfy their own ego. It's infuriating. But Godou, Erica would say, that is the life of a Campione. I understand how you feel, truly I do. I, even myself, don't particularly like the idea of innocents being caught in the crossfire. However, a Campione is a king, someone who conquers and who serves for their own conquest. Sad to say, many Campione live in that extreme. They use their power for their own desire, for their own satisfaction. And it's something that it's their right. Their right? Yes, Hestia would say. When you manage to slay a god, your world, everything changes. You can never go back to being who you used to be. To slay a god is to make a bold declaration, Godou. Is to declare that you yourself are equal to the heavens, that you will not submit to them or to anyone, that you are stronger than any force that the world or that this whole universe could ever throw at you. You challenge the very bounds of nature itself when you make such a declaration, when you slay a god, whether for your own righteous reasons or for your own selfish ones. The simple fact of the matter is that once you become a god slayer, you pretty much make yourself exempt to all rules of both man and God. You become a force that cannot be contained, a king that will not submit or bow to anyone. Voban is the true definition of this. When he became a Campione, he chose to live and see himself as a king, as do many. Sure, some are more crueler than others, but in the end, this is the world that they all live and exist in. This is the life of the Campione, and this is where you find yourself now. But I want to know, what kind of Campione do you want to be? What kind of king are you, Kusanagi Godou? What kind of king am I? Godou had never really thought about that. He never really considered the concept of him being a king, but in essence, it's what he was. Honestly, I just want to be a kind king. I don't want to abuse my power, and I don't want the power to change me. I'm Godou Kusanagi, who I've always am and who I will always be, whether I'm a Campione or not. This power, the titles, they don't define who I am. I will always be who I am. And that's something that none of this will ever change. The girls were all stunned by his answer, but not surprised. Erica and Maria would smile, and for Hestia, as she looked on at Godou, the kindness and the warmth in his eyes, she couldn't help but see someone that she used to know. She turned back in her seat, keeping her smile to herself. He would never replace him, but he did give that similar feeling. As she looked up into the night sky, Hestia wondered, I think you two would have been good friends, Belle. He's a lot like you. He's more of a hero than a king. But maybe that's just what the world needs right now. The 30 minutes had lapsed. Voban looking out into the night sky. Liliana by his side along with the horde of the undead. Warriors of whom he had slain and resurrected to use as he saw fit. And so now the great hunt begins. I hope you've hidden yourself well, Kusanagi Godou. Because now, the hunt is on. You earn my respect and my admiration, but you also earn my contempt for you for doing so. Try as you might, struggle as you might, it will make no difference. Because comparably, the two of us are the farthest apart, and I will show you the true power of a Campione. This concludes Campione, Fury of the Gods. What if Godou Kusanagi was Shazam? Season 1, Part 4. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we will be concluding Campione, Fury of the Gods with Season 1, Part 5, the Season 1 finale for What if Godou Kusanagi was Shazam. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can always stay up to date when we upload our next video. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.